Hello and welcome to number 3 in my Freebie Friday series. Today I'm making this magic slider card where you pull the tag on one side and a secret panel pops out on the other. And I'm using this lovely free gift which came on the front of Papercraft Essentials magazine, issue 161. There are lots of ideas inside from the design team to give you some inspiration as to how to use this set. Lots of fun ideas there, but I am going to go my own way as usual. The set includes an embossing folder, a stamp set and some dies which cut out some of the stamp shapes. I'm not going to be using the embossing folder today. I have an empty plastic bag, I have some white card for stamping on, and this piece of blue 12-inch square cardstock. So I'm cutting that at 5 3/4 inches. I'll put all the measurements on my blog, I'll put a link below. And then I'm scoring at 3 3/4, at 7 1/2, again at 7 5/5, and then at 11 3/8 and 11 1/2. As I say, all of those measurements will be linked below. And now I'm just going to fold all those score lines, give them a good crease with my paper folder. You have to coax it, those narrow sections, you have to coax a little bit to fold them. You have to sort of just gently encourage them to do what you want them to do. It's worth taking your time and getting that nice and precise. You'll get a better end result. So that's how it'll all fold up. And now I'm just taking a little sliver of cardstock off of that right hand edge, because that will help it to fold neatly together later. And now I've got a 1-inch circle punch, or it might be a 1 1/4 inch, doesn't matter, just something to cut that little thumb hole out. And I've cut 2 pieces to make the tags that slide in and out. They measure 5 1/2 by 3 1/2 inches. And here I'm just finding the centre and making a little pencil mark so that I can stamp the hole for my tag, pull tag, in a central position. Popping those to one side for a minute, and now I'm going to cut the piece of plastic that forms the inner mechanism for this card. It needs to be about 2 inches or so wide. And this kind of plastic that comes on these, you get these with scrapbook kits and things. This kind of plastic seems to be about the right weight and slipperiness. So you want something like that. And I'm going to wrap that strip. It will be slightly too long, but I think I found it easier to start with a piece slightly too long. And I'm going to wrap that piece around that section. Make sure it's a section that doesn't have the little folding tab. And I found the best thing to use was this double-sided tape. I tried stronger red score tape, but it was too strong, it was too stiff, and it meant that the plastic wouldn't move around the card easily enough. Wet glue wouldn't really work. I found that this seemed to be ideal. So I'm just checking with my fingers that will revolve nice and easily around the card. It's tight enough but not too tight, and I cut off the excess piece there. So now I've turned it over and I'm placing some more of the double-sided tape on the bottom. It's a bit of a fiddle getting that backing tape off on the plastic. And then I'm attaching the tag. So that just gets attached only at the bottom of just the plastic. And now I'm going to turn the whole thing over, or just the plastic section over, and I'm going to attach the secret panel that slides out, and that's getting attached only at the top. So it seems a bit sort of mysterious and complicated, but it isn't really. If you just carefully follow, I would advocate making a little prototype first. That's what I did, but once you've done it once, it seems really obvious. And now it will fold together so that little tab shape just slots in nicely and doesn't get in the way of the tags pulling in and out. And I found wet glue is the best way to do that. There we are. that's that done. Pressing it down nicely, making sure it stays well stuck. You don't want it coming apart. And now you can see that when you pull the tag, the other piece slides out. I love that. Okay, so that's the workings done. Now it's time for the decorating part. So I've cut some patterned paper into small panels to fit the front, a larger one for the back, and then and then two smaller ones for the inside tags. I'm not going to give specific measurements there because it's up to your taste really. And now I'm cutting some circular pieces to put my stamped sentiments on. I've got some scalloped circles and stitched circles. Poking out all the little pieces from the dies. And I'm adhering my pattern paper to the front of the card and the back of the card. And now I've got my stamping platform out. You don't necessarily need one of these, but it does make life a lot easier. So I'm taking that first white scalloped circle, securing it with the magnets, and I've chosen a sentiment, happy birthday, and I'm just placing it where I want it on the circle. Yeah, and then I'll pick it up with the lid of my stamping platform and ink it up. I'm using black Memento ink there. Giving that a good inking up. And you can see that although I've got a smudge of ink there with the stamping platform, it doesn't matter, it's not going to transfer, which is one of the many advantages of using this one for me. It didn't come out perfectly, so I'm inking again, and I know that it will stamp in exactly the same place. So now I've moved on to the sentiments go on the front of my card, and I've just put the word cheers just sort of to the left and top of the circle. I want to leave space for some decorative elements to go over the top of it. Just re-inking again to make sure I've got a nice crisp, clear stamped image. And there we are, I'm happy with that. And now this is to go on the secret panel. The sentiment says, let's celebrate. And all of these sentiments have come from that free stamp kit. I haven't used any others, so I'm just getting that placed exactly right, closing the lid of the stamping platform and inking up again. And I know that this Memento ink will be all right for stamping my images later because it's alcohol marker friendly. So here are the decorative elements I'm going to put on the front of my card. Just checking them out against the sentiment there, and I think that'll be a nice placement. There's the champagne bottle and glass there. And there's a die which cuts the glass out but not the bottle. It's a shame it doesn't cut the bottle out as well actually, but no matter. I could cut the bottle out by hand, it wouldn't be a very difficult shape. So I'm just using a sharp little pair of wire cutters. I keep in my drawer just for doing this. And I've used that stamp again at the top there. Just I just want the glass this time, so I'm just I've used the die to cut out both those glasses, and then I'll go ahead and cut the bottle out by hand. So there's my glasses, and I've now cut the bottle out. I've cut some stitched rectangle panels there as well, and I'm just having a look at how everything sits. Yep, I'm happy with that. I've pulled out some of my Kaiser Fusion alcohol markers, and I'm just using them to do some very, very simple colouring. I'm just colouring using a couple of shades of sort of pale yellow for the champagne in the glass. And then this for the second glass, I want it to be tilted to one side as if it's going cheers. So obviously I'm making sure that the liquid in the glass is at the right angle to look right when the glass is tilted. I'm doing my usual very simple thing with these alcohol markers. I just use a light colour, then go around with the darker colour, then go back in again with a lighter colour to blend them together. Very, very straightforward. I never do anything complicated. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I've got a couple of shades of deeper sort of golden yellow colours, and I'm just blending them together to try and look like the foil on the top of the champagne bottle. And then I've got 2 shades of green for the actual bottle. I'm going to, obviously carefully avoiding the label, I've gone all over it with the lighter green first this time actually, and then I'm doing some dark green around the edges, and I think I'll do a little line down the middle. Yeah, trying to get a bit artistic there, but I'm not really very good with colouring with these markers yet. I'm practicing, I'm learning. It's all a learning curve, but I'm quite happy with how that turned out in the end. Now, what's next? I'm now going to place my sentiments on the end, on the first one on the tag, next one on that secret panel. You have to keep what's on the tag and the secret panel, you have to keep it very flat. You can't put any sort of lumpy embellishments because then it won't run in and out smoothly. So you just have to keep that very flat and simple. You could feasibly put a gift card in there, or perhaps a photo, or you could do your written message on there as well. Just nothing lumpy. I'm just using wet glue now to I think my ATG had run out at this point, possibly. Right, of course the wet glue does give you a little bit of wiggle room to make sure everything's sitting exactly as you want it. I am now working on my centre panel now, but I've put the blue scalloped circle down first, and now the slightly smaller stitched circle with my cheers stamped on it. And then I just need to add my coloured images. So I'm sticking the bottle just down flat on there, and I think the first glass is going to go down flat, and the next one I'll just put a little bit of foam dot on it. Dithering about here a bit. Oh yeah. I love getting PVA glue all over my fingers because I quite enjoy picking it off afterwards. That's it. Now a tiny bit of foam dot on the back of that second glass, the tilted one. So yeah, it's got some wet glue at the bottom, and then a foam dot at the top where it overlaps the other glass. There you are. So it's quite simple, and you could get a lot more elaborate with this, certainly on the front, but I think the charm of it is in that sliding secret panel. Very taken with that idea. So now I'm just adding a plain white panel on the back, which is where I'll be able to write my personal message. Yeah, all done and dusted, and I'm probably going to have to play with it one more time now. You can see I'm delighted with this little design. Can't claim credit for it. You know, there's lots of tutorials for how to make this card on YouTube. Oh, now I've decided it needs a little bit more, so I've got a strip of leftover white card, and I've just used my scalloped border punch, and finally my little shimmer pen to add a touch of sparkle to the champagne bottle and the glasses. I think I'll just do the gold foil bit and the actual liquid in the glasses. I love these shimmer pens because they just give a really sort of subtle sparkle. You know, glitter on here would have been way over the top, but just that little subtle shimmer is really nice. Catches the light beautifully. Probably can't see it there. Oh, and I've added some tiny little plain clear jewels there just to sort of simulate the champagne bubbles as a finishing touch. There we go, and that's where my personal message will go. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Give it a go. Once you've made one, you'll want to make more, I promise you. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.